Hey, hey, how's it going tonight, everyone?
Hey, what's
You
up,
lag
dude?
so bad.
Do I really? I look good today.
There you go.
I feel, yeah, I feel like I look good today. I know.
All right.
I sold some snakes and some rats today, so I'm gonna go ahead and
Nice.
buy me a new computer. So this lag isn't a common occurrence. Yes.
Yes.
Um, but on that note, to bring it in today, Hector.
Yeah.
How did I come across Hector? Actually, I think on YouTube. I was searching some stuff on YouTube, and Interstellar Max, real quick. Shout out to Interstellar Reptiles.
Yes. And if you guys didn't
But,
know, anything you order from Max's Soar Frontier, all the profits go towards USARK. So awesome way to support him and his brand, and then also, you're getting it double where all the profit goes to USARK as well. So super cool
not
thing he's got going on there.
not sponsored. Not sponsored.
Yes.
Not sponsored. Yeah, but no, I came
No,
across
not sponsored. No.
I came across Hector on YouTube actually, and to be honest, it wasn't even him in the video. It was his wife in the video unboxing an animal. And I was like, okay, but it was the name that caught me, Honey Reptiles. And I was like, I've never heard of Honey Reptiles. Then later I find him on Instagram, and I'm like, yo, this dude's bringing some heat.
Serious heat. Yeah, for sure. I remember I discovered on YouTube as well, and I remember watching his video being like, where the hell did this guy come from? And he's got all these amazing animals.
Yeah, dude. Out of nowhere. Out of nowhere.
Yeah. Like, how have I never heard of this guy before?
Yeah, man. Well, let's ask him about it, guys.
Yeah.
Hector from Honey Reptiles.
What's up,
Man
guys?
himself.
How are you? Thank you for all those nice
What's up,
things.
man?
I'm really not that great.
No way, dude. I'm fangirling over here.
Yeah.
Because we didn't just have a discussion about your children.
Yeah, I know, right?
That didn't just happen. I wasn't still laughing about that.
My two stepdaughters who just so loud all the time, make me want to shake them. Shake them. Oh, I know, right?
All right, moving on. For people that don't know, Hector is expecting. You guys are expecting, right?
Yeah, we are. Our second daughter. She's actually due in about a month or so. So yeah.
Congratulations!
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Exciting. Yeah. Were you guys like going for a whole like one girl, one boy, or?
I actually didn't care, but my wife really wanted a boy, and that's just not what happened. So now we have two girls, which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah, dude. Hey, 10 fingers, 10 toes, right? That's all that matters.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. So are you going to make it to Arlington, or are you gonna stay around for just in case?
Yeah, I initially planned to, but I won't feel comfortable leaving, in that time frame.
Yeah, that would be like right.
Yeah. She would also probably kill me. So I brought it up, like, you sure you need me? But I just.
Oh,
you're so much
thin ice.
You're
there.
Not. You're.
I've been listening to Brandon talk about children. I just,
Yeah, dude. I would have gave her a cork off a wine bottle and been like, "You better plug it up for the car ride. We're making it to Texas."
I can
you will hold that in.
You can hold it a couple more weeks, right?
You will hold it in. You will make it past the weekend, damn it.
That's hilarious.
No. That's awesome though, dude. Kids are like the best worst thing ever. They really are.
Yeah.
But
I just feel bad for your stepkids, you know?
Yeah, Hector's like, this is horrible.
Dude, no,
These poor children.
What did I sign up for?
no, they're gonna grow up to be so much better than I am. Like I'm very good. The Army has taught me I'm not that drill sergeant mentality kind of person. I'm good at analyzing people, looking at their strengths and their weaknesses and molding them very well. That's what I've done as a leader in the Army for many, many years. So I even still, I'm reading this book right now called Parenting with PTSD. And I'm obviously reading that for me. but they will grow up to be better than myself, without a doubt.
That's the goal, right? I'm the
I
same
was
way.
gonna say, I think that's the goal for every parent. Is you want your child to always be.
Yeah, better, because your kid's your retirement plan, right?
Exactly. For me as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Like,
looking for
for sure.
financial benefit. I get it.
So then, Hector, you got a daughter on the way, kid expensive. So you're a hobby breeder. So what do you do for your day job?
I do a few things. I don't necessarily have a day job. I guess I own a bar here in Brooklyn. I dabble a bit with the stock market. I do snakes. Kind of whatever new hobby I pick up, I try to transition it into some sort of profitable hobby, just so that it's worthwhile and worth my time. Yeah, I do some collectible stuff, like old rare collectible cards and stuff like that. Literally, I just whatever I can hustle. Well, yeah.
That's awesome.
So how far do you live from the Brooklyn banks?
I'm honestly not sure. I live in Williamsburg. So it's like the most popular place in Brooklyn, at least one of them. Brooklyn banks. I'm honestly not sure. My life revolves around an 8-block radius, so I never leave my neighborhood.
There you go. Yeah.
So I used to before the Army, I worked for some sketchy guys, and I used to drive cars from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, up to Brooklyn.
Okay.
And then I'd just get in a different car and drive it back to Pennsylvania, and that was my job. Didn't ask questions, but I used to stop and skateboard at the Brooklyn banks all the time. Loved it there. That's just why I had to ask.
Yeah. I'm probably like 20 minutes away from it, more or less.
Oh, that's good shit.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not sure you should be disclosing your old job online live, but
it's okay.
Right?
Those dudes are those
in jail.
dudes are.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Both of them.
Brandon always bringing all the fun.
Right?
Gonna get shut down for illegal activity.
I watch your lives because Brandon just brings that darkness, like you don't expect it to go there, and then like someone died or something. Like it's
always, it always ends with something like this is awesome, and then just falls off.
Yeah, exactly.
No way, dude,
falls off the handle for sure.
It's always funny. Man, let me tell you.
I enjoy it.
It's really funny. Yeah, it is funny. You guys got to try it one day. You got to try some gangster shit. It's very stress relieving.
The sad part is that our conversations are like not on live or even worse. Like if you can believe that it gets worse because it does.
Yeah. It's like
I'm like, oh Lord, Brandon, you cannot talk about that. Let's not go there.
Oh yeah, dude.
Anyway,
Troy's in the comments. I've had some.
Oh yeah, anytime Troy's in the comments, Brandon's talking, we always get off track. No. Anyway, Hector, how did you start in the reptile industry? Like, what was the first ball python or a reptile that like caught your eye and you're like, wow, this is just awesome. What more is behind this?
Yeah, so I actually didn't like snakes until like 2018. I always liked animals and reptiles, though. I was a big lizard guy. So when I was about 11, I got my first lizard. It was a bearded dragon, and I had it for maybe 3 years. After that, it died, and after that, I started buying leopard geckos. So I had a small colony of leopard geckos for some time, and yeah, I always like reptiles. And then literally, I started watching Brian Barczyk daily. I'd wake up and watch his video daily. This is around like 2018 or so, and I would see him just like cradle these little ball snakes. You know, they're just like these little balls in his hand. I'm just like, oh, that looks cool. That looks cute. Different
Yeah,
colors.
playing with balls in his hand.
Exactly. That's the kind of stuff I'm into. So I'm just watching him just juggle his balls, and
yeah.
I literally woke my wife up and I was like, I think I'm gonna buy a snake, and she was just like, whatever. So I bought a pastel mystic potion for $800, which at the time I was like, I can't believe I'm spending $800 on a fucking snake.
We all go through that realization, unfortunately. Yeah. Yes.
So when I got her, I was hooked. I did the same thing that everybody else does. The intention was for her to be a pet. So I started building shit. Like she had this giant enclosure that's like meant for cactus. Oh my God, Steve.
I couldn't help it.
So me and Las Vegas have like a big dispute because I'm very I guess outspoken with what I say, and I believe personally that yellow belly is a bit overrated, and he's like, it's his favorite gene. So he embarrassed me on social media by getting like 100 people involved. People are like signing petitions to go against me about fucking yellow belly. He's a horrible person, though.
I would like to go on record and say that I sent you a picture comparison of a snake with yellow belly and an animal without yellow belly. Yes.
Yeah, I just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Like the yellow belly more.
Ridiculous. And I just saw that Troy mentioned Peter Luger's. If you guys don't know, it's like one of the most popular steakhouses in the world. It's ridiculously expensive and it's awful. I went there when my wife graduated college. We spent like $1,000 and it was the worst service, the worst meal. Everything was just dreadful. I come from a restaurant background. It was just horrible. So just to touch on what Troy brought up about the steakhouse. I also live about 3 blocks away from the steakhouse, Troy. But to continue, yeah. So I bought this.
Go back and read it.
I got it. Go ahead.
In my house, and after I grew her up for about 8 months or so before I got my next animal. And throughout that time, I'm just still watching Brian, but now I'm venturing out and learning more about the breeding and seeing these different genetics and stuff like that. So I decided maybe I'll pair her next year. And I found a pretty cool male that I thought I would want to use with her. He was the same thing she was. He just had Orange Dream in it. And I think 2 weeks after I bought that male, I realized I was like, oh, I fucked up. I should have not bought a male. And then I went and bought 2 clown females right away. And then it just started spiraling out of control after that. And that's how we are here today. Yeah.
But that's awesome. Yeah, that whole, they're like potato chips. You can't have just one.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's very true. You start out with one, and the next thing you know, you have 7. Next thing you know, you have 25, and then it just keeps going. It's pretty.
Me and Steve from Las Vegas, we're always joking because like he'll send me a list. Like he's like, hey, I just bought all this shit. And I'm like, yeah, I just bought these. And then we're just like, what the fuck are we doing with our lives? Like, what are we doing? So that's funny. I totally know what you mean. You just can't have one. Yes. I literally just got 2 snakes in the mail today. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy. Yeah, it seems to grow quickly. People always go from like having a handful. Like we went from having 11 to having 76. Like we bought out a dude's collection. Yeah. So we literally jumped straight from 11 to 76. And it was just like, what did we do? Like it was like an oh shit moment once we got everything.
Yeah.
Once we got everything down. We had like this little, it was actually an old like coal room in our basement because our house is stupid old, and it's just stupid old. I always tell people like, this is the nicest room in my house. Like, there's more money invested in this room than there is in like everything else that I own. It's crazy. But it was so small that we had to move a rack to like get to the racks behind it. It was like playing Jenga in
You're
our
using the rack as a door.
yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, and we did that for about a year and a half before we actually built this room. So yeah, it was nuts. It was crazy. Feeding day was fun. It was like moving everything around and it was nuts. But you know, that's why I tell people, like, everyone starts somewhere, whether you start in a room like this or a nice facility or a closet or wherever, you know, you can always grow it up.
Yeah, for sure.
That's the nice part. So where did the name Honey Reptiles come from?
Honestly, I don't really remember. I think I believe it started because that's what me and my wife call each other subconsciously all the time. And she had a shirt that literally said honey on it. And it was one of my favorites. And I was like, hey, that's a nice shirt. And I just put it together. It just went well. She came up with the design of the snake in the honey jar. That snake actually is purple because it's my first snake, which was the Mystic Potion. A lot of people don't know that. The snake is purple. And yeah, it kind of just started from that. We're just corny, I guess. I don't know, but it worked out. I think the name's pretty cool. People like it, and yeah.
It's better than Royal Reptiles. Like, okay. So no, you're good. Yeah, I get that all the time. Like, where'd you come up with that one? I'm like, look, I was like 18 when we started this. I was tired. It just didn't fit. Like, I went with it and ran with it.
You can't change it once you start, right? It's like,
no. Yeah, we talked about rebranding like last. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, we're too far into this to start rebranding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, awesome.
I mean, yeah,
there's lots of stuff you can do with that too.
What about you, Brandon? Where the hell did you get Oodles and Noodles? That's just unique.
So I got a bunch of snakes.
You said you caught?
And
bought.
No, I got like I started buying ball pythons. I'm still in the Army. This is when I was in the Army. I was a young sergeant. I just moved out of the barracks and into a 2-bedroom apartment. And so 1 bedroom all snakes, and the other bedroom was like rats. And then I was sleeping in the living room. That's how bad I wanted it. Oh. So I didn't want to read. I just wanted to keep them, you know. But they got a lot of hate, you know, the reptile, the stigma. So I started going to shows and doing education for free and educating young people, typically younger than like 15 was my target audience. Because if you can start to change there, as they grow, they pass down that knowledge. Well, then I realized sergeants in the Army don't make a lot of money. And doing that shit every weekend's expensive. And I was like, man, I might as well just breed these motherfuckers to get them to pay for themselves. So I wanted a name that was good to appeal to young people. And I'm eating some chicken flavored ramen noodles, and I'm looking at my dog and I'm like, man, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna call this company. I'm just talking to my dog eating these ramen noodles because all my money was going into reptile education for kids. Yeah. And where I'm from in Pittsburgh, we didn't call them ramen, we called them Oodles and Noodles. And I was eating them and I was like looking at them and I'm looking at them like, that's the good shit right there, Oodles and Noodles. And that's it, man.
Yeah, you guys in Pennsylvania, you call things really weird names. Like I have family over there and like they call soda pop. I don't know if you're familiar with that
Yeah.
term. So like
Yeah, pop.
the first 5 times we've gone over there to their house, they're like, "Hey, would you guys like some pop?" And I'm like, "What the hell are you
You want
asking
some
me
pop?
for?
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying?" But
Yo.
it's soda, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you call ramen that. So super strange
Yeah.
to us.
So that's a Midwest thing too. I actually call it soda now because my husband's from the South, and so
Okay.
he called it soda. So when we started dating, it was like a huge debate, right? He's like, "It's soda," like he would not give me pop. Like the reason we call it pop, yes, like the reason that we call it pop is because if you leave it in your car in the winter, it explodes. Because it freezes. Yep. It gets so cold here. So it's called pop. And that's where the name came from. And he didn't believe me. And I think it was like, I don't know, a few months later, whatever, they had just moved up here. He left a case of soda in his car overnight. He went out the next day and it exploded. It was all over his car. I'm like, see, it popped. It's pop. Still doesn't believe me. We still call it soda. But
that's how I feel when you guys argue about caramel and caramel. I'm like, oh my goodness, are you kidding?
So we're gonna wait till the live to ask you.
Yeah, don't answer that question now.
That boils my blood. I'm just like, what are you saying?
Well, so I'm from like Pittsburgh, right? And it's the bottom left corner of PA. Yeah. So we don't even call it Pennsylvania. We call it PA. And what happened was when Pittsburgh became industrialized, it became the biggest steel capital in the U.S. So a lot of people moved up from the south and down from the north to work there. So this language was created that's called twang. So it's called Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We say Pittsburgh, like P-I-X, Pittsburgh. You don't work at the steel mill. You work at the still mill. You have water from spigots. You have roofs. It's slippy outside, not slippery. To red up, when you need to red up, that means like get dressed, clean your room, wash your ass, get out the door quick. What else do we say that's real weird? Crick instead of creek.
I say crick.
I don't know. We're just
you also say
crick?
The
twang. Yeah, the twang crick carries wide. So twang became a thing during the twang became a thing during the Industrial Revolution. So in Pittsburgh, it's real. Even real. I say real instead of like real.
That's real.
Instead it's real. It's real.
It's very similar to Midwest, which I think is interesting.
Yeah. So the best expression I use is
these people are
normal.
insane.
We say in Pittsburgh, the only word we have that's unique to us is yins. No one else says yins. So normally people will say, "What are you guys doing?" Mm-hmm. We would say, "Hey, what yin's doing?" Like, what yin's doing? Instead of you guys. Or yins would take the place of y'all. Yins and y'all are the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard some of those. Like I said, we have family over there, so some of those are familiar to me. But it's still strange because you guys literally created your own words, so it's I'm not accustomed to it.
Yeah.
We have a few
words over there.
We have a few words that we say differently, and it even varies just kind of depending on if you grew up like a rural area or an urban area a lot around here. But the number one thing that people always know, number one, people always think I'm from Chicago. And they always say that I have an accent. And I'm always like, then what's my accent? And they're like, well, you don't really have an accent. You just talk really fast. That is the Chicago accent, is we don't breathe. We just talk. Like there is there is no punctuation. There's no stopping. Like it's
go.
Yeah, it's continuous. But that would probably be the biggest thing, especially when I go down south. Like if I go way deep south, people just look at me like, this girl's on something, you know. Like I can't understand a word they're saying. Like it's like they're like, my brain can't process as quickly as you're talking. I used to teach computer programming down there, and I got that a lot. They were like,
Slow down.
Yeah, I can't understand what you're saying.
Cool
Yeah,
your tip.
yeah,
You'll be
yeah.
fine.
That's so funny.
Yeah, dude. So to stay on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Stay
what
on
were we
track.
talking about?
Who knows?
God damn it, Brandon, you did it again.
I did it again. Fuck. Okay, so Hector, I found you on YouTube. Well, technically, I found your wife on YouTube first, but
was it the
I found
unboxing of
your
that pie? Was it that video?
yes, it was that video.
Ironically enough, that pie actually came from Troy. He doesn't know it. He probably never seen the video, but that video really blew up, and I actually got that snake from him when I first started. Just thought that was interesting that he's in here.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
awesome.
So I saw that video, and then that's when I went and found your social media. So you've been doing YouTube right off the rip, huh? Like you started YouTube like from the beginning, didn't you?
Yeah, so like I said, whenever I get involved in a hobby, instantly, once I realize like, okay, I'm really enjoying this, I already try to start transitioning it into some sort of profitable, thing. And after I had my first 2 snakes, which was that male and female, then I got those 2 clowns, and I was like, okay, instantly I can tell how the demographic worked. It was like the people who put themselves out there were the people that were more successful, and the people who didn't were the people who just weren't. And some people are uncomfortable with it. That's okay. But for me, it was like, I know I'm going to be picking up crazy animals moving forward. So I need to have that documented, and I need to start putting myself out there now. Because give or take, it's going to take me another 2 years before I have my first season. And once that happens, I want it to be a successful season, and I want to be happy with it. And it worked. I thought it was a good strategic plan just to start off. And it was super uncomfortable for me, super hard. Like if you go back and see my old shit compared to what I do now, like everything about it has just evolved dramatically. Which I picked up a new hobby because of it as well. Like I love filming. I've bought a shitload of like camera gear, and now I just do this for fun now in terms of like filming different videos and shots and of random stuff, not even about snakes. So that was cool. But yeah, I immediately like realized you gotta push on it hard when marketing yourself, and putting your face out there, because I saw that the people I would want to buy from, and I was buying from, was the people I saw on YouTube and Instagram, and the people who were showing off their crazy animals and stuff like that. It just made more sense, right? You go on Morph Market and you see 1,000 different names, but the ones that stand out to you because you recognize them, usually that's where you'll be pulled to. And it just, yeah, I'm glad I made that decision early.
Yeah, and your videos have gotten amazing. I mean, I've gone back and watched some of like your old stuff up until now. Like I know you got your new 4K camera, right? Yeah, that you've been working on with, and even just like your intros are so cinematic. Like they're just fun to watch.
Thank you.
Like the different transitions and the way that it flows, like it's so smooth. I remember watching it for the first time being like, dude, I just want to rip off what this guy did. Like, I just want to go through and do the exact same stuff because it was so awesome. Like I can't even think of anything different that I would like change or do. Yeah, so it definitely seems more like a movie than like watching a YouTube video.
I really appreciate that. I work extremely hard on videos. People ask me, why do they take, why am I not consistent with posting? Is because I'm so busy in life. And when I do make a video, it takes me fucking 12 hours to put everything together.
Yeah.
That's a whole day process, sometimes 2 days by itself for one video. People don't understand how much work goes into it. It's not as simple as me just turning my phone on and uploading it. There's software involved, and editing and lighting, and there's so much shit involved.
What software do you like? What editing software do you use?
Like for the video, I use Final Cut Pro.
Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
I found the DaVinci Resolve.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and that it's a free download, which is always nice, right? But that's what I've been using. It's super nice, super user friendly. I do have some programming background, so I do think that is beneficial. I can I can sometimes cut corners and go around stuff just simply because I can actually go into the coding window and just like type in what I want instead of having to figure out how to make the system do what I want. So it's definitely helpful. But yeah, I've been asking around because I like mine, but everyone seems to use something different, is what I've noticed.
Yeah, everyone does.
I have a Mac, and it comes with something called Movie Maker. And I used it for a while, but it wasn't able to upload high quality videos and like in terms of resolution. So I spent months researching, and it turned out that like the industry standard for YouTube is Final Cut Pro. Usually when it comes to cameras or just anything revolving around like video editing, the updates usually come first for Final Cut Pro. They usually just kind of take priority because it's an Apple program, right? And Apple is obviously like top dog.
Yep.
So I paid the $300 to get the program, and I love it. No regrets. I wouldn't change it. I've dabbled with some of the other ones, and it's just this one. The interface seems to be the more friendly.
Very good. That's my biggest. Yeah, that's my biggest thing. Like I've used Premiere Pro, and stuff like that. And as awesome as it is a hard interface.
Yeah,
like until you learn it, it is really difficult, and I didn't want to have to go to a 6-week course to learn how to edit my videos. I just don't have the time. But I'll have to look into that one. That's kind of why I went with the DaVinci. And then again, like I said, it was a free download. So it was kind of a nice get my feet wet program where I was like, am I really going to stick to this before investing in like a big software? But that's good to know. That's all good information.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what projects are you moving a little bit away from the YouTube? If you guys haven't seen his YouTube, you don't know, but what different projects are you working with right now? Because you've got a lot going on over there.
I have a lot, but I'm really meticulous. So my collection in terms of genetic is just really like isolated. Mostly recessives, with a few codoms. My biggest project is definitely Desert Ghost. Then would be Monarch, and then the MJ Lightning Pied stuff, which I put to everything this year pretty much. But just so much. I love Clown. I love Ghost or Hypo. I know you don't like it, Brandon, but I don't care.
Another one. Yes.
Hypo bullshit.
It's okay. I love Hypo enough for the both of us, so it's okay.
She really does.
I do.
My first YouTube video, actually, that it kind of put me on the map. It blew up. It did really well for being, your first YouTube video. Was actually my Monarch video. At that time, not many people knew about it or heard about it, and it just blew up after that. I think the video got like over 20,000 views, like really fast, and it just blew up. Obviously, the Monarch is super dear to my heart. I currently have 6 females that are double het for Monarch Desert Ghost. They're all pastel and super pastel combos. I have triple het Monarch stuff. It's Monarch Pied Ghost triple hets. I don't remember what else. So those hopefully they're actually from last year, so they should be breeding next season. So hopefully next season I might hit the first Desert Ghost Monarchs, which has been my goal snake since I started. Super excited about that one. I just got into the Desert Ghost Clown project today. I actually just received a pastel Desert Ghost het clown female. They're super scarce on the market, but I was able to swindle one away from someone.
Yes, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I have maybe, I think 16, maybe 14 breeder females. That's all. I have about 5 males, and the rest are just holdbacks from last year and a few things I've picked up. I always wanted my collection to stay relatively small. I never planned on having more than 30, 35 adult females at one time. Obviously, just cycle them out throughout the years. I never wanted to get to that point where I'm dreading to take care of the snakes. I always wanted to say, kind of small, more boutique-like, if that makes sense.
So would this always be a side job? You don't ever see this being like your main
Yeah, I only believe in side jobs. I don't believe in one thing. You know,
Hey, I don't blame you. It's a
I'm
good way
always
to go
finding
about it.
something new that I want to get involved in. So that allows me to be free financially to jump around and try different things. So I'll never
Yep.
just stick to one thing. I'll get too bored.
Yep.
Yeah.
Feel that. Do you breed
I
your own feeders?
I don't. I hate rats so much. I live in New York City. You guys,
We've
you've been
talked,
around
yeah.
here. Like, yeah, we spoke about that. New York City
Yeah.
rats, they're the thing of night. Like they're stuff of nightmares. Like they're no joke. All right, just go on YouTube, look up New York City rats. You see these things attacking people and like killing birds from the sky. Like these things are like predators. Like it's no joke.
They really are.
apex predators in New
Yeah,
York City.
you know, speaking of that, Brandon, you were talking to Jose last time on your last live, and when you mentioned you were like that pigeons were sky rats or something like that. I spit my
Rats
water.
of the sky.
It was
Yeah.
hilarious. You're like, oh, you mean the sky rats? And I just busted out my water all over the place because it was so funny. I've been meaning to
Dude,
tell
they
you.
are.
It was hilarious, but it's true. It's like a war here between pigeons and rats, and they're just going at it all year long, and it's wild. I
That's
despise
fucked.
rats. Like
That's
when
funny.
I feed, I have like these heavy duty
Jose.
gloves and tongs. I can't deal with rats.
Damn, man. Oh,
So do you
man.
feed live or frozen?
I feed live.
Okay.
Frozen is too much of a chore. I just can't do it.
I don't blame you. I feel the same way. Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. Frozen rats just have the smell to them once they're defrosted, and it just kind of makes your whole house smell like that. And yeah, I just can't. It's actually really hard for me to feed the hatchlings and the grow ups because I feel bad for little rat pups. It breaks my heart. But defrosting 50 rat pups and trying to keep it at the right temperature is, I just can't do it. I just don't have the hours in the day.
Yep.
Agreed. 100% agreed.
Yeah, we feed almost primarily live, and then usually we try to give every hatchling at least one frozen thawed meal before it leaves. Just kind of because people are always going to ask, right? Like, does this take frozen thawed? And that's just what I tell people. I'm like, look, we always feed live, but everything has at least one frozen thawed meal before it leaves. We breed our own rodents, so it's actually relatively easy. And I don't feed them frozen thawed. We have a CO2 chamber here, so I'll CO2 them, let them go for a few minutes, like obviously not until they're at a decomposing point or anything, but, get to more of a room temperature type temp and then, go ahead and feed them. But, so we do try to do that, but for the most part, people don't really ask anymore. I mean, we have a few clutches every year that are like a pet market type thing, but there's a point where you get high enough quality animals that the people that are buying them aren't really concerned if they're eating frozen thawed or live.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I've actually noticed that. Like when I first started, it was pretty common for people to really question about whether it was live or frozen. I myself used to do it because I used to feed frozen, and I used to kind of be scared because you hear the rumors that live animals won't switch. But I feel like over the last few years, people have become more informed about these kind of things and just stop caring to ask.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. I had a girl buy an Xanthic from me last year, and she was like, "Oh, I saw you feed only ASFs. I only have access to frozen rats." And I was like, "All right, hold on. I'll send you a video by the end of the day." Went down the road, got a rat from my buddy, brought it to my house, CO2'd it, froze it, thawed it out just to go through the damn process.
Frozen.
Showed her the video of like it thawing out, and then the snake took a frozen thawed rat off the tongs after eating nothing but live African soft furs for 8 straight meals.
Yeah, there's a lot of stigma around that. I haven't found that to be true. I alternate all my animals. So one week I feed normal rats, and the following week I feed ASFs. I've always alternated. I have my own theories behind it. We can get into that next time if you want. But Yeah, I've never had that issues. Every once in a while, I'll go a few weeks of feeding a prey item in particular. Like, I'll go 5 weeks of just ASF if, I just can't get rats at that time or something. They always switch back and forth with ease. No issues, honestly. Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
I always tell people, the only time I've ever had issues with an ASF feeder not taking rats is if they were a mouser before they started on ASF. Like, that's literally the only time. Like, they never took rats. Yeah, I don't have any issues with mine switching because there are weeks that I don't have enough ASFs of a certain size, and I'll bring Norways instead, So never had issues with mine switching. And going back a little bit to, like, people, asking if they feed on frozen thawed or live, I've kind of gotten to the point now where if I'm like, if you're not willing to feed live, ball pythons might not be for you. I've never had a snake that wouldn't take frozen thawed eventually, but I tell people all the time, they might be eating frozen thawed now, but you move them, you take them, you put them in a new environment, especially a pet home where they've probably got it in a rather large space or tank, and they're doing it that way. I said the chances are you are going to need a live meal or two just to get that animal back kind of into feeding mode after having such a stressful experience, and then they'll take frozen thawed right away. Most people are pretty understanding about that, and everyone that I've told that to, it's worked. They feed them 1 or 2 live meals, and then they go right back on frozen. But I think it's just a matter of kind of reigniting that predator to prey drive once they've been, kind of the stressful act of moving and getting into a new environment and all that kind of stuff. Because no matter what, even if you tell someone that they get a baby, baby ball python or a hatchling, they take it and they put it in a 10-gallon tank, it's probably at least twice the size, if not 3 times the size, as the tub it was being kept in at the breeders.
Yeah.
Unless they're in a high traffic area, probably of the house. Those people put them in a living room, and they've got cats and dogs and all this crazy stuff,
Yeah, exactly.
But I've used to try to be, I guess, more user friendly with people who are like, well, I just refuse to feed live.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, sometimes you just have to. Sometimes it could be a hunger strike. That snake gets to be 2 to 3 years old, and it goes into breeding season, and it goes off food, and it won't come back onto frozen after being off food for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So I think people need to be more understanding on the natural instinct that goes into the feeding response.
Yeah, I've been super fortunate. I've never had an animal go off feed or not want to eat until this season. My lightning pied male, he was going crazy breeding so many females, and he just stopped eating. So I had to pull him for a while. And I have this one clown female. She's super strange. She breeds a lot, and she doesn't eat too often, but she's big. She just doesn't want to eat often. But that's about it. I've been really lucky. I've never had issues. And like I said, I transition. I feed both ASF and normal. I used to feed frozen, and I swapped over to live. No issues at all. The hatchlings could be a little tricky sometimes, but once you get them going, they're monsters.
Yeah, for sure. I have a killer clown like that. It's funny that you have a clown female. She just kind of eats when she wants to. She eats like a small medium. Like, she won't eat a full-size medium. Like, she'll kill it, but then she doesn't actually finish eating it. She's a good-sized girl. She's about 2,400 grams. And she eats, like, she'll eat for 3 weeks in a row, and then she won't eat for like 2 weeks, and then she'll eat every other week for a couple months. And she's always steadily put on weight. She's always grown. She's always been fine, but she's just not a consistent eater, I guess I would say. A trick that maybe you can try with your breeder males that I actually use on mine. I don't have any breeder males that go off feed during the breeding season. I'm very fortunate. I knock on wood. I say that every time, and then I'm like, better not jinx myself. But I feed Norways to all my males once they hit breeding size. And I will only give them soft furs if they go off feed.
Interesting.
So
I
I
mentioned
think
that before.
That makes
I
sense.
think sometimes when they're used to getting the Norways and then they go off feed and then you offer the softer, it's almost like putting, a steak in front of them after weeks of eating McDonald's, right? So they're like, oh, hell yeah, I'll eat that. Like, this is the good stuff. And then I'll keep them on softers till like the breeding season's over, and then I switch them back to Norways for the rest of the year, and I kind of rotate through that way. But it might be interesting if you can kind of get them to switch over to that schedule. I don't know if it would work well for others, because as far as, I mean, I'm sure other people do it, but I've never talked to anyone else that does it that way. But yeah, our goal originally was to switch everything over to softers once we got our production up. But I think I'll keep my breeder males on Norways most of the year, just to have that extra like push to get them eating during the breeding season.
Yeah, so I actually do the opposite. So the reason I alternate is because I have this theory about Norway rats having more calcium, just because, like, scientifically they have much bigger and denser bones. Yep. So it just makes sense. Like, if I weighed out their skeletal structure versus an ASF, no one can really dispute that it's not more calcium going into the snake, unless Correct. You're feeding your rats, some sort of supplement, which some people do. So for my breeder females, I like to transition it on a weekly basis just to make sure they're having more calcium intake. So when they're shelling their eggs, that's just my own theory, something I've been doing since I started. But starting about a year ago, I took all my males and put them all on ASFs. They obviously don't need that same calcium intake because they're not shelling eggs.
Right.
And they love it. They all eat.
Yeah.
They never go off feed even throughout the breeding season. Like I said, just the one animal I have now is lightning pied.
Yes.
And he's young too. I think he just got overwhelmed because he was seeing like 6 females and he wanted nothing else to do but just every day. But so all the males are on ASFs, and my females and my hatchlings alternate. And once my males get to size, I swap them over to ASFs, and the females continue to alternate. Just my theory, with calcium and getting slugs and stuff like that.
It's a very interesting theory. It's not something that most people have talked about or probably really thought about. Yeah.
That's my way of doing things. I take everything at face value, and then I like to experiment on my own. So I experiment with everything.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
That makes a lot of sense. I would agree with that theory. I'd like to see your eggs as compared to like my eggs, because I feed only ASFs and nothing else. And I'd like to just see if your eggs come out like
last season when I think I had 6 or 7 clutches. All my eggs were just huge and beautiful, and I had 0 slugs. Everything was just amazing. And I was just like, maybe this is working. We'll see. So I'm doing it again this year, obviously, and I'll let you know how the results are. I'm expecting a lot more clutches this year, so I'll have a bigger body of info to give.
Yeah, so that is really interesting, because I actually have a Mohawk spider girl, and I've always alternated my snakes as well between Norways and ASFs, because again, I just don't produce enough ASFs to consistently feed everything in my collection, especially the larger animals, because my ASFs they come from a really small line. I mean, my biggest ASF is tiny. It's not. Brandon's got these huge freaking ASFs. Mine are like this big.
Jumbo.
And they take like 8 months to get to this size. Yeah. So it's hard for me to justify feeding my breeder females like a 40-gram ASF. And I just don't have enough production and the time to wait 8 months, right, to get 50 ASFs up to that size every week. But anyway, this Mohawk spider girl, and the first year that I had her, she was only on Norway. She gave me 12 eggs. The second, all made through incubation. I've never gotten a slug out of her, and I've never had an egg go bad during incubation from her. The second year, she was alternating between ASFs and Norways, and she had 15 eggs. And the third year, she was alternating, and I got 19 out of her, all viable. And then last year, I actually sent her off to a buddy on a breeder loan, and she was with him from about she lays usually about March, so March, April. She was with him from about August until she laid, and he only feeds ASFs. And I got 8 good eggs out of her, which still great clutch, right? But I was like, wow, I was really surprised because usually she's a 10 plus egg layer very consistently. So it'd be interesting to see. I was going to give her the year off, but I ultrasounded her about a month ago, and she had 18 millimeter follicles, and I hadn't paired her. So I was like, well, I'm kind of just letting her waste the energy of going through the motions. So I went ahead and paired her up. But it'll be interesting this year now that she's back on that alternating schedule to kind of see if I get like another good size clutch out of her, or if I'm going to get another, smaller clutch. So just not enough data there to be guaranteed that's what caused it, but just,
it is something to think about.
That is interesting. Really yeah.
Actually, somebody just commented, they just reminded me. So last year, I had one female. She went really late for me, and she wasn't really a big fan of regular rats. So I was feeding her a lot more ASFs, and it just so happened to be, I think that was the 7th clutch I got. That female in particular, her eggs had windows in them, which usually happens because of the lack of calcium.
Yep.
Actually, like I said, I like to experiment. So one of the eggs were going really bad, so I cut the egg open at like a week or 2, and I incubated the egg cut open, and the baby survived. I made a video on it. That's what I mean about experimenting. I've done crazy shit.
Wow.
That's
super interesting.
I went to that because that was the one female that I wasn't doing regular rats with, and she was the one female that came out with eggs with windows. That was the only one. Everything else was the same, temperatures, etc. She just went much later. Even though they all started breeding at the same time.
Yep.
And her egg, she had a relatively big clutch. I think, I don't know, maybe 9 eggs or something. I don't know. But most of them had windows in them, which was just, a lack of, I would assume just a lack of calcium. So he just brought that up, which reminded me, just to add to our little conversation we're having. Just a theory.
So the thing about the theory is to truly prove it, you will have to breed your own rodents, because the amount of calcium in the rodent is going to be dictated by what it also intakes as well. So what you feed your rodent is going to affect the nutrition that your snake gets. Because I have a female clown that just laid me 13 eggs, and they were huge and good and round with no windows.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm definitely not saying ASFs won't work. I'm just my own.
No, I get what you're saying. No, your theory is badass, and I like it. But the only thing is, for solid data, because I experiment and I have so many Excel spreadsheets of data of shit that people would consider taboo in the industry that I've done and I've tried with veterinarians and herpetologists and biologists, and just collected the data just to figure it out. I just want to know, right?
Yeah, to really work out that theory too, and then we'll move on to the next question, because Brandon and I could nerd out about theories all night.
Oh yeah.
Is you would actually, in order to kind of work through that type of theory too, it would be really cool to get an import female straight out of Africa and breed her on Norways and see if there's any difference, right? Because the whole theory behind the ASF and the Norway is your body develops different enzymes in order to break down different proteins and nutrients depending on the food that you eat, right? So is it that they actually need the extra calcium, or are we breeding animals now in captivity that are used to eating this extra calcium, because the main food diet that we feed are Norways, to where now their bodies are becoming reliant on getting extra calcium because we've been feeding Norways? So is it like human breeding, right, that is causing the need for extra calcium, or is there benefits to an animal that has, you know, kind of straight out of the wild been feeding on ASFs their whole life to having extra calcium? So that would kind of be an interesting way to go about that. But
it's so much. It's so much between like
but I love that
gut
theory.
loading and
I
biology.
like that a lot.
It is it makes me want to like work it a lot. I'm working a theory right now, and I want to know how much poop a snake can hold. It's experimenting right now, because you know people will feed them and feed them and feed them and then weigh them full of poop.
Yep.
And then they'll sell you a snake that's way lighter than it actually is. It'll poop
I've had animals come in like 300-ish grams lighter than what the picture was when they weighed it, you know? So, especially the big females.
I heard a really funny story from Billy one time that way back in the day, normal ball pythons used to sell $1 per gram. And you would go to shows and they would pump them with 2 medium rats to really make them super heavy. And you pay whatever amount of money, $3,000, $4,000 for this female. And then when you get back home, she poops and she lost 800 grams out of nowhere. And then you're like, holy shit, it's overpaid for the snake. So it's funny you mentioned that. Since,
Oh yeah, dude.
Just a quick plug, because I was getting destroyed in the comments by a few people earlier. I'm lucky enough to get my ASFs now from Jose. He puts in so much work. Like this guy, he makes his own fucking treats for them, and he goes above and beyond for these animals. Before, I used to get them from a different place, which I wasn't really satisfied with. So that could be, going back to what Brandon said, a reason. Maybe there's definitely just weren't the best quality ASFs, at least compared to Jose's. Now, you know, since I've transitioned to Jose's, I'm sure I'd have no issues. But like I said, that's just, I'm not interested in trying to prove it or disprove it. It's just something I personally think, and that's just what I do. You know, more calcium, the better. That's it.
Get the gears turning.
You said earlier that you were. Yeah, you said earlier that you were a lizard guy before you were a snake person, right?
Exactly. So calcium already.
Yeah, I'm sure you know you had to focus a lot on gut loading your insects and all, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So
leopard geckos, you're supposed to dust whatever they eat, because naturally that they don't produce enough calcium. So instantly, that's where my mind went when it came to snakes and the eggs, and that is a nice connection. Like subconsciously, I'm not sure.
Very cool. All right. So why did you choose to invest in the high-end projects that you decided to invest in? Was it simply because that was what interests you, or was there, you know, some like, all right, I see that this is kind of where the market is going? Was there some like insight before on your purchases, or how did you come to those decisions?
So initially, it wasn't strategic at all. I literally was like, I'm just going to buy what I think is beautiful. And it just so happened that all the shit that I thought was beautiful was ridiculously expensive. You know, the Desert Ghost and the Monarch and stuff like that. After a little while, I had a few clowns and stuff. Then I really started to look at the market and make predictions, kind of like in the stock market, make predictions of things I think have a lot of potential to grow in the near future, etc. I actually made a video that, to this day, it actually holds pretty strong value. I made it like 2 years ago. And I think it's called How to Invest in Ball Pythons Correctly. Shitty video in terms of quality. But I point out a lot of genetics in that video and talk about why I believe they're good investments now and why I think some aren't. And I spoke about things like the vanilla gene and the Monarch and just these things that at that point in time, no one gave a shit about. And then presently, they're just booming. It was a lot of things like that. So I really just spent a lot of time, and I did so much research and reading and watching everyone's video and everybody's theories on things, and just finding out about all the new things coming out, looking at what's happening in Europe, looking at what was imported from Africa, literally just trying to fill myself with knowledge to see like what direction I wanted to go in compared to what everyone else was going in. So like I knew no one had Monarch, and Desert Ghost was just starting to gain that traction. So I got on at the right time, and I'm like, I'm gonna mix these two together, because at the very worst, when I finally do produce these visuals, if I'm not the first, I'll be one of the first 3, and I know that project's gonna be insane and start booming. So I got into that immediately. What else? There's a few other things like Desert Ghost. I was lucky enough to pick up female Desert Ghost when they were affordable. Now female Desert Ghost, they don't exist. You can't find them on the market.
Yeah.
I have a few, and it was because I was able to, and I got them for super affordable, because at that point in time, it wasn't popular yet. It started rotating afterwards. So I was fortunate enough to get into a lot of really cool, important projects before that market rise. And it's literally just me just being in tune and paying attention and really, it started off with just, I thought it was cool and beautiful, and then it transitioned into more of a strategic, all right, this is going to gain value and traction over time, etc. Like my new thing now is I'm really just trying to buy out any double recessive females I find. So like I bought the Desert Ghost genetic stripe, cryptic pastel, some crazy female. I bought 2 pastel ghost pieds.
Which were beautiful, by the way.
Some other stuff that I can't reveal yet because I have to make some videos. But I just been buying out a lot of double recessive females because, like, I acknowledge and I realize now that in another 2 years they're going to be scarce because that's where everybody's going. Luckily, I already have some stuff brewing and working and growing up and stuff. But now, if I see them and it's beautiful, I'll buy it. It's like gold. It's just value going to go up, even if I don't use it or something bad happens. I literally can always just take it and resell it as an adult for much more than what I initially invested. If I decide not to use that project or something, but it's just a no-brainer for me. And I know not everyone can do that, but I'm fortunate enough to be able to, and I go at it with a really business aspect. That's just how I live my life, I guess. So that's my new thing. It's double recessives.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what you said about double visual, especially females, is just so true, because even if you say you buy up a double visual and it's got a codom to it or whatever, and then 3 years from now you decide that that's not the direction you want to take that project, you can easily turn around and sell that female for probably twice as much as what you paid for, if not more. Yeah. Because there's someone out there who wants that double visual, especially in a female. So it's a great way to go about it. And jumping on some of these things early is just what you have to do. If you,
so worth it, dude.
Yeah.
I talk to a lot of breeders, and I've kind of come to find this as I've been in the industry, is the price is only, I don't want to say cheap, right? But the price is less than what it's going to be, okay? Because those breeders are kind of like, if you trust me enough now to know that this is going to be something amazing, before I make that something that's amazing, you're going to get in it at a good deal, right? Yeah. But as soon as you make that combo that blows everyone's mind, it's too late. That combo, those genes go through the roof. So it's almost like a, kind of a going back to trust who you buy from.
Yeah.
If you're looking at this animal, you're like, man, why are you charging so much for this, right? There's something that I don't know if necessarily there's something that they know, but there's some vision for that animal that they have that's going to be probably something pretty amazing, right? Like I think red stripe is a perfect example of that. You used to be able to ride red stripe for $100.
It was dirt cheap.
Like,
people were giving
get rid of them. No one wanted it. Then that one combo, and I talked to Justin about this when the Pave came out. He was charging more for red stripe stuff, and I'm like, why are you charging so much more for this stuff? And he's like, because I've got this, and I know it's gonna be cool. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but I know it's gonna be cool, right? And
you really
and then when the Pave came out, right, it like broke the internet. Like Morph Market had so many people on it that it couldn't even hold the capacity, and people were had animals the day before that they had listed for $100 and they were selling them for $1,000. And if they would have had 20 of them, they would have sold all of them. You know, so.
Oh yeah.
We're lucky enough that we have Justin to do that. He's like,
yes.
You know, people don't realize, but like if you look at it like a stock market, he's like the ultimate, like whatever he's doing, if you get it before he announces it, you're golden. Like I'm so looking forward to him talking about Monarch.
Yes.
Everything, you know, all my Monarch stuff that I made that are like hats and stuff that were to sale, I kept them. I have them growing up because I'm waiting for him to do that. And then I flood the market with my Monarch stuff. And here's what's available now. So I have it on the shelf waiting. I have nothing posted. The only thing I have left from last season, I sold out last season within like a month and a half. Lucky enough. I'm super grateful for that. The only thing I have left is Het Monarch stuff, which I'm just holding because there's no reason to sell it right now or market it. Literally looking forward to when Justin Monarch huge or bigger than what it is.
I totally agree. I'm in the same boat, and I've actually been in the Monarch project now for 4 years.
Wow.
So and I don't have anything too crazy, to be completely honest. I have some nice hets and some nice double het stuff, but I didn't push it super hard when I first got it. We were fairly new. I mean, I've only been breeding for 6 years. So I had some females that I knew specifically, I want these codoms or these recesses in Monarch, but instead of taking him and throwing him to 6 or 7 females that were just going to make pastels and simple things, right? I kind of just put him to the stuff that I knew I was going to want in Monarch. I didn't want to end up flooding a market that hadn't been established yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot, but I have enough that I'm excited about the project, and I'm kind of just holding it. Yeah, exactly.
I care about the project a lot, and I want to protect the integrity of it. So,
same.
You know, why not hold it back? So then, when Justin releases something, we're gonna have a few people undercutting, trying to bring the value down, and now hold the market strong with a good amount of Monarchs at what the price should be. Period.
Exactly.
Yeah. Same thought process.
Yeah.
Even then, I still don't think I'm gonna want to sell any of my Monarch stuff.
Brandon's gonna hoard it.
I might
hoard all of it.
I did that last year.
Dude, I just had
that rack is literally Monarch stuff.
Yeah.
I might have 12 animals in total.
Yeah, dude.
Like double, triple head stuff.
I had 2 guys come over here about an hour and a half ago, and they were like one of the first thing they asked. They were like, "Let me see that Monarch, dude." So I showed to them and stuff. They're loving it. They're like, "So what are you putting it to?" And I show them. They're like, "So what are you gonna price those heads at?" I was like, "I'm not pricing the heads. I'm buying 2 more racks, so I can hold them all.
I can keep them back." Yeah. I think that's the right move.
Yeah, dude.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's kind of the funny thing too. And I mean, Brandon and I have obviously talked about this a lot and been fairly open about it in our lives as well. But the Het Monarch stuff that I am making, if any of it is getting let go, like I already have people that I know personally that I know are good for the project that want it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be something that gets listed. You know, if it goes, it's going to go to someone like Brandon or obviously we've even talked about in the future if we end up having stuff that overlaps or you know, however that works out. But it's like people ask me and I'm like, I've already got a list of 5 or 6 people, which is probably more than the heads I'll be letting go.
Exactly.
Anyway, in the future. So, and it's a good position to be in on a project.
Oh yeah.
You know?
That's how it is for me with Desert Ghost. I get like weekly requests of people like, "Hey, you got any DG for sale?"
Same.
I'm
like,
sure.
0.
Yeah,
I tell them nope.
Yeah.
I just got into the DG project, so I'm late to the game. But I'm excited. I hit it pretty hard. I picked up the DG pin female from Brandon.
You got that Mario that I'm trying to figure out where you live so I can break in and steal it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I decided that with how hot Desert Ghost is right now and how hard I wanted to push it, that if I was going to start in on it, I might as well go in big.
Big with a male.
Yeah. So
yeah.
that's another male that I paid a very hefty price tag for to get that Mario in there. And just kind of like I was talking about that earlier, the only reason I did it was because Justin was like,
it's a great investment.
Yeah, it's going to be good. He's like, I value the Mario project and I have plans for it and I have goals for it. And I said, you know what? Why not hop on the DG train and get this codom in here that once I do start making hets or double hets, plus
I just did that with Monsoon, just to throw that in there.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mix it with another recessive that's already or another gene that's already going to be super popular.
Yeah.
No brainer. You got to make that investment.
Exactly. And it's who doesn't want, if you are working with the new codom, it only makes it better that everything you produce now is going to be at least 100% het Desert Ghost.
Yeah.
It just adds an extra bonus to providing that new codom or having people look into it and work into it. And Mario is very heavy in Desert Ghost because the original Marios were het Desert Ghost and no one knew.
Yeah.
So when they made the Mario Desert Ghost and they thought it was the Super Mario, it wasn't. It turns out that it was just that. It was a Mario DG and they just didn't know that
DG.
Mario and had Desert Ghost with it. So but again, with how popular Desert Ghost is, no one's ever going to be like, oh, I wish that wasn't het DG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never. Never said it. Yeah.
So.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
The funny thing, he showed off that Super Mario DG in a video a long time ago, just like in an intro.
Yep.
I took a screenshot of it. I sent it to a few friends, and I'm like, yo, what the hell do you think this is? And at that time, I wasn't interested in trying to invest, or I didn't even think to ask. I regret not asking him, like, hey, Justin, what is this? And do you have more?
Yeah.
Because if I would have gotten lucky and gotten something. When I saw him at the last Arlington, I asked him about it. And I'm like, hey, do you have any Mario stuff available? And he's like, no, I wish I made more, but I have nothing. I'm like, man, I really missed that train. Really missed that train.
I actually found out about Mario on a forum, on Ball Python's forum, the ballpythons.net or whatever it is. And I saw this.
BP.net.
Yeah, I saw this article about Mario, and I was like, Mario? Like, I've never heard of it, And I started reading through it and stuff, and then it just kind of ended, and I was like, well, where did this end up? Because it just kind of like was, the guy was really good about updating, then it just ended. And then I caught wind that Justin had bought the project, and so I messaged Justin. I'm like, hey, did you, pick up this Mario project? And he's like, yeah, I've got it. And I was like, I'm really interested in it. And so I actually got a hold of him to get I wanted a DG Hypo double visual male with a couple codons on top. I'm so heavy in visual hypo females.
Makes sense, yeah.
And I like the DG Hypo project a lot. So I was like, if I'm going to hop on the DG train, if I get a double visual or even a DG het, at least I can make like visual hypos that are het for DG and have these codons.
Yeah, hypo het DG.
Yeah. So I was actually supposed to buy a leopard spot nose Desert Ghost hypo from him. And was super excited about it. But I always notice every time I buy something from Justin, the next week he comes out with something that I'm like, damn it, I would have bought that instead.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and so I asked him, like, do you have any other DG? And he was also 50% het clown. So it's like perfect, yeah, So I asked him, like, do you have any more DG hypo sub? He's like, I don't have any more DG hypo sub. He's like, but I got this Mario DG clutch coming. And I was like, oh, and I'm like, all right, I'll hold off. He's like, it should pip here in the next week or two. I'm like, okay. I said, don't hold this one for me. I'm like, you can sell. I want to see, someone asked, I'm like, I want to see what you have in this clutch. So he sent me a video of the clutch cutting before he like posted it on YouTube. And I picked this guy out in the egg.
Wow.
I was like, if that one is a male, I want it. Like, it's mine. And he messaged me back. He's like, all right, I got one person ahead of you. for a Mario male. I said, oh no. I said, you told me to hold off buying this other male. I said, if this one's a male, I'm like, come on, Justin, I trusted you here. And so that's how I actually ended up kind of getting him almost. I think I guilt tripped him a little bit into selling it to me.
That's insane.
But no, that's how I ended up with him. And he messaged me and before Arlington. It was like, man, I really wish I had more of this Mario stuff to show off at Arlington. And I was like, well, you can bring my guy with. I would actually love if you would bring him to the show. Like, I'd love to see him in person.
That one was yours?
Yeah.
Oh, I tried to buy your snake.
It was already sold.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, so I was like, I'd actually love it if you would bring him with. And he left me on scene. And I was like, you damn it. So the whole ride down to Arlington, right? I'm like, is my snake going to be there? Is my snake going to be there? Is my snake going to be there? So I get there, and Chase and Abby are there, but Justin's still flying in. Like, they drove down, but Justin's still flying in. So I'm like, I go up to Chase. I'm like, Chase, is my snake here? And he's like, I have no idea. I don't look at them. I just pack them. And I'm like, damn it, Chase. So I waited like a whole probably week and a half, not knowing if my snake was actually going to be at Arlington for me to see him or not. But yeah, I was really excited when he ended up bringing him. So, but yeah, I was like Christmas Day, it was like,
to say, what a feeling that must have been, like Christmas Day.
Dude.
Yeah. So, and you know how Desert Ghost and Hypo and just most snakes in general, but I feel like those two specifically, you just can't catch them well on camera. Never. Like, it's really hard to, although I felt that way about the Super Chocolate Clown. And if you saw that one at Arlington, that was Justin's too.
Yeah, I saw
Super Chocolate Clown.
I think that was the snake at the show. We actually talked about this on a previous live. That was the most unexpected to me. Like, I didn't expect for that snake to be as, like, wow in person as I would have thought.
It was like a Hershey bar.
Yeah.
It was like Hershey bar chocolate. Dude.
I have so much bad luck with the chocolate gene. In that video I was telling you about where I mentioned more genes that I thought were going to be good in the future, I mentioned the chocolate. And since then, I've been trying to find chocolate. And every time I find something I want, I'll message the person and they'll tell me it was sold yesterday. So I don't own chocolate. The last time it happened to me was Fireball had this super chocolate hypo.
Yes.
Something else. Het DG. Something crazy. And
I think it had Orange Dream in it, didn't it? Because I remember seeing.
So
I don't remember, but I try to buy.
So they have one right now.
Sold.
They have a chocolate hypo DG posted now. I'm gonna send it to you.
Oh, really?
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that the other day.
Fireball?
I believe so.
Yeah, I'm sending it to you right now.
Yeah, I actually.
Hypo Chocolate Desert Ghost female. Copy link. I'm going to send it to you right now.
That's funny, Hector, because I've had the same problem. So I actually ended up just recently picking up just a couple chocolate things. I very rarely don't buy anything that isn't either visual or het something. Because I work strongly with recessives, but I could not find chocolate anywhere. So I did end up picking up a banana chocolate pastel male and a pastel chocolate female. And I was like, I'm just going to keep them and breed them and get them into my recessives, and then I can turn around and sell them, And then I also picked up a cinnamon special with that too. I just kind of got a deal on all three of them. And I figured I'd throw her to some clown stuff, get some, cinnamon and special into more of my clown. But that's very rarely do I buy something that doesn't have either a visual or at least het something. Yeah.
The only time I've ever done that was the first animal I bought, which was the Mystic Potion, because I didn't know what I was doing. But it is very, very nice, Brandon. And This might be mine one day. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll find out.
I
That would be awesome.
hope so. It looks good, dude.
It looks so, but you know what's funny about Fireball? So I buy my DG stuff from him because he's the first time I got into DG was from him, and all his pictures, no one's pictures do justice, but his pictures, it looks like he goes out of his way to really subtract from the beauty, because it's like,
Yes.
like why do all your pictures look so dark, and like if you purposely cast a shadow on it or something? So but I know it's always fun because I know like once I open it, it's gonna be amazing. So the picture might be shitty, but I know when I see it, it's gonna be unbelievable. So I know this is gonna be one of those situations where if I did get this and saw it, it'd blow my mind. Because right now it just looks like a normal animal, but
yeah, I actually saw your YouTube video about the pastel hypopides. Those were from Fireball, I believe, correct? Was it that video?
No, it was a pastel genetic stripe desert ghost. 66% had cryptic.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So I remember seeing that video. And you had mentioned that it was from Fireball, and you mentioned that about his pictures. That his pictures are just
shitty.
not the best quality. I'm not gonna lie. I have passed up purchasing a lot of hypo and DG stuff from Fireball specifically for that reason.
Yeah.
There's some of his hypos, like, in my opinion, I was like, there's some of your hypo stuff I can't even tell is hypo. and I kind of assumed that maybe it was from the pictures.
Yeah.
But I have seen a lot of hypo animals that just, they're so poor quality that they don't look hypo.
For sure.
And that wasn't what I wanted, obviously, to be breeding.
Yeah.
But after you said that, I mean, I've actually started looking at his stuff now. Like, it used to be someone that I would just scroll past on Work Market and just not pay any attention to. But since you mentioned that in your video, I've actually been looking at his stuff and maybe hoping to pick up a couple things from him this coming year. So I'm glad you mentioned that in your video, and just again now, because he was someone that I had kind of written off. I mean, not to sound like in a bitchy way.
Yeah.
It
was the same for me. I bought from him from the first time, honestly, because he had a really cool desert ghost animal that just wasn't available, and it was really great price. Like I said, I got into it really early, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. And then when I opened it, I was like, whoa, I never saw desert ghost in person. I heard a few rumors about it, very minor stuff, and I'm like, if this really does what people say it does, it might be big. So I got into it. I never saw it in person, a desert ghost. And when I opened it, I was like, holy shit. The same day.
Yeah, dude.
The same day I went and I bought 3 females from him after I received that. I bought a male at first. I saw it and I was like, okay, I need these 3 females now. Literally the same day, because it blew my mind.
That's awesome. Yep.
I can't speak on his hypo because I don't own any from his hypo yet. I can speak on his DG, and his DG is beautiful. It's very beautiful, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
he got some good DG stuff.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Like I said, it's good to know, because he was someone that I had just I even had a buddy of mine send me a picture, and they're like, they wanted to get into hypo, and he had this like multi-gene hypo male, and they sent me a picture. I think it was a Firefly Inchy hypo. And they sent me a picture, and I looked at it, and I'm like, dude, I don't even know if that's hypo. Like, I can't tell from the picture because there was such a shadow that the blacks looked really black, and I'm like, I don't want to be that person, because it probably is. But I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I just don't know. And so, like I said, it's good to know, and I've gotten to where I actually stop and look at his stuff and are considering, buying stuff from him in the future. But I wouldn't have known unless someone, had said anything. So
yeah, his pictures suck, dude. Snake's a great picture suck.
End it all. Yeah, his pictures suck.
Just be done.
Snake's awesome. Pictures suck.
People tell me my pictures suck, and I feel bad because I try really hard.
You gotta nail the photos. I think that me having, I think I took really good photos for everything I had listed this past season, and I think because I did that is why a big contributed me selling out within like a month and a half. given I didn't have that many things available,
yeah.
I sold maybe 15 snakes or something like that. But they went like really fast, a lot of interest, a lot of traction. I think I had pretty strong photos. You got to nail the photos for sure.
Yeah. I just need to get a better
People
camera.
love my photos.
I literally take everything with my iPhone. I put it on portrait mode.
Okay.
They come out flawless. If you look on my Instagram feed,
was,
all those pictures were all taken with my iPhone on portrait mode.
Yeah, I take mine with my phone too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was convinced to switch to Android, worth the sake of my life. If I could afford it, I would whip this thing across the room and go get an iPhone tomorrow. But unfortunately, I'm on a contract. So
you got to stick to it. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah. The only thing I do like about the Android, and I do like it a lot because we do a lot of hiking and that kind of stuff, is it has its dark mode where like you can literally take a picture in pitch black.
Yeah.
And it draws in all the natural and surrounding light and then lights up your picture.
That's so cool.
So that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I do like that feature of it. But other than that, I mean, it takes decent photos. Don't get me wrong. I've noticed I've gotten a lot more lighting equipment, which has obviously made a huge difference.
Yeah.
So
it's so funny that you mentioned that Android iPhone thing. This literally happened to me like 2 days ago. I saw a post. My wife sent me a post. She was like, what like, what does this even mean? And it was like iPhone morning alarms versus Android morning alarms. And for those of you who have iPhone alarms, it's like the worst noise in the world. You don't want to wake up to that shit. You just wake up and you're like hitting snooze on your phone.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, my brother, he set his alarm to go to school. And I wake up in the morning to like birds and harps and these beautiful, like smooth sounds.
Harmony.
I woke up so peaceful. I'm like, what? Did I die? Like, what the fuck is going on? I go to my living room and it's my brother's Android. And I just bust out laughing because I just saw a post about that the night before. Unbelievable how true that was.
There
so
are definitely
have up on iPhone for sure.
There are definitely benefits, and I also have the Note, which I love for like record keeping and stuff, because I can like I can just, if I'm down here and I notice something, I can literally pull this out, jot it down real quick, and then at the end of the week, I like go back through my notes and I update them on, you know, my actual records. There's definitely good things about it. One thing I don't like is I have to check the same notification like 18,000 times before the notification actually goes away. And that's really frustrating when you get literally hundreds of notifications and messages every day.
I turn them all off. I have zero notifications on my phone. If I get to it, I get to it. That is it. Yeah, missed calls.
Yeah.
Good.
It would just be too much. I can't do it.
But on my Apple was my iPhone was so accurate. Like if I clicked on it and went and looked at it, it was gone. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. Processing power of the iPhone is better.
Yes. And if I dismissed it, it was gone too. The Android, you have to dismiss the same notification like 6 times before it keeps, otherwise it keeps popping up, you know, when you go to look at your phone. And so there are things I like about it, but for the most part, I'm going back to iPhone when I'm done with this, and I'm never straying again. We're just going to stay on the
master race.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. So, Hector, do you keep any other species other than ball pythons as far as reptiles?
I don't. I had one pet leopard gecko that died like a year ago. Besides that, that's it. I have a giant dog you guys might have seen on my Instagram occasionally. That's about it. No.
Do you have any other like dream reptiles you want to own, or are you just sticking with the ball pythons?
Yeah, so since I was a kid, my dream animal was always a blue tree monitor. To this day, like it's my dream animal. I just live in New York, and New York sucks, and you're not allowed to have anything over here. But eventually, one day, when I decide to leave this horrid place, I will have an amazing blue tree monitor in a crazy enclosure that's too big for it, and just to show off, because I think they're so beautiful. I'm like, I love that animal a lot. So that's my one. I also like tree snakes a lot, like tree pythons and tree boas. I think they're really beautiful.
Yeah.
Just always up. So I might get some of those in the future just as pets. But besides that, I mean, ball pythons are just perfect. They're so low maintenance and so beautiful at the same time. You get so much for what it is. You
So
can't
diverse.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
you know, you get every color,
Yeah.
every pattern, every pretty much anything, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we can make ball
Yeah.
pythons that look like berms are just crazy, you know,
Yeah.
like the pattern is almost identical.
Yeah, I've also never owned a Eurymastix, but I really like that animal.
Yeah.
So one of those for sure. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I like
so
the blues. The blue Euros are sick.
I like blue shit for some reason. Like my dream is to have a blue ball python. I want a
Same.
blue tree monitor. I want the blue
So
tree
you
snake.
like the only color that's not yet made in the ball
Exactly.
python industry.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. I was looking for
I
the
think-
impossible.
I truly think
Well,
that hypo.
there is that hypo.
I was gonna
The
say
the slate.
Cool.
Yeah.
So literally, I got a pastel ghost clown in the mail today, and
Okay.
the clown patterning on the back it's like blue.
yeah.
I'll pull it out to see if you guys can see it. I don't want to. I want to go back and forth. I just want to show you guys this one.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah.
I think hypo and DG are gonna be like the keys to making a true blue snake. I mean, I know that there's slate, which is kind of like a grayish blue.
Well, it has
But,
blue and aged gray.
Yeah.
You're totally
Yeah,
right.
it's really
DG
blue.
and hypo, like Justin's Fire DG hypo, it has like a lot of blue tints to it. So I don't
Yeah.
know if the camera will pick this up,
I want to see this.
but
Yes.
Focus camera.
Yep. It's like that
Oh,
grayish
shit.
blue. Yeah.
exactly, it's a
cool.
grayish blue, and it's just so pretty. This animal is
It's
actually
like
not
charcoal
mine.
blue.
I got it for a friend of mine, but when I saw it, I called my friend and I was like, "Dude, let's trade," because I should have bought this for
I
myself.
want that one.
Fascinating. It's so amazing.
I think GHI and hypo are going to be a key to the blue snake because I have a GHI hypo female and she's very like slate blue all the time. But when she's in shed, she is, I mean, almost like a teal blue. It is ridiculous how truly blue that snake gets.
So Jose has a GHI Mojave clown, and it changes color sometimes, and sometimes it's really blue, super beautiful. So I think you're right about that. That GHI seems to definitely be a key in unlocking that.
Yeah.
Along with hypo,
my GHI stuff gets lighter at night and darker during the day.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, so I've got a lot of stuff with like bluish tint to it, but it'll be real interesting to see if we ever get like a true almost like turquoise blue, right? Even if it could just have elements of that color, I think I would be super ecstatic. I've seen it a lot in like banana clown hypo stuff though too. That like where it's usually purple tends to get like pretty interesting blue tone to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely hypo is really important to it.
Yeah, but I want
maybe we'll transition.
I want bush viper
to
blue.
Brandon, you just said that hypo is better than DG. Pac-Man eats the better one.
Oh, what's does he?
Who said that hypo is better than Oh, okay.
No, my bad. Less than. Hypo is less than DG. Hypo is.
I love Ghost, but I have to agree with that.
DG, I agree too.
Nothing can compare to Desert Ghost. Nothing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's how I always remember that. That's how I was taught. Like the less than.
Pac-Man eats the bigger number. I remember it the same way.
The bigger one, or better or whatever it is. So yeah.
See, I just didn't go to school. I'm self-taught everything.
I'm the same way, man. I'm the same way, so I get it.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Pac-Man though, so.
Yeah.
I didn't know about Pac-Man. I can play the game.
Yeah.
Play the game. That's about it.
Okay.
I just had to give you crap, Brandon, because I will. I had to give you crap because I will never hear you say that hypo is better than DG, but now I have written proof.
Yeah.
that you said that.
We got to get a screenshot of it to make sure we
Yeah.
have the evidence moving forward.
All right, guys, I'm going to post it. Who's got a screenshot? Someone hit it. He even signed it.
No,
like,
no,
he's
Hypo
totally
will
screwed.
never. Hypo will never have a place in my collection. Sorry, not sorry.
User error.
I get it though. I feel like that about a bunch of dudes. Like,
Yeah.
I never plan on getting into yellow belly. I'm not the biggest fan of puzzle. The only reason I want puzzles for one thing, which is Monarch. Besides that, I'm not impressed with puzzle, which I know you like it a lot, Brandon. But I've never been impressed with it. I just think it's gonna really work insane with Monarch. So that's the only reason I'm interested in, just for that, and then I'm done.
I'm literally already on that track.
I know we spoke about it.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna get one of those from you. I just want to see what that looks like, and then I don't want to put it to anything else. I'm not the biggest fan of puzzle, so I get that though.
So for liking Ghost, that's surprising because if you look at what Miguel's Hypo puzzle shit looks like, it is mind blowing. Like, I'll never work Hypo, but I'll tell you, Hypo has gangster combos out there, and Hypo and puzzle work just as good as Hypo and Pied.
Yeah,
100%.
I like Hypopide.
Hypopide is amazing. They're so orange. It's like, why is it orange? Doesn't make sense, but it's so nice.
I was super excited when Miguel started producing all of his Hypo Ultramel stuff because I already have Monarch worked into my Hypo stuff. I was super excited about that. But yeah, I'm kind of on the puzzle boat too.
I like puzzle and yellow belly. Hilarious.
Oh man.
It's not every gene is for every person. That's all.
Exactly.
Like Hypo, okay. I don't think Hypo is trash. I don't. There are gangster ass Hypo combos out there.
Okay.
But yeah, Disco is trash. Disco is shit. but
Disco's gone. Brandon.
Yeah, but Disco is non-existent. But everyone builds their collection a certain way to evolve around certain projects, and that's just that. Hypo ain't bad, but it ain't for me. That's all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Disco can go fuck itself.
Disco, just eradicate Disco from the.
Oh yeah.
I can hate Disco.
That's so funny. I've never seen it in person, so I can't comment too much on it. But I'm always confused with that. The whole Disco Inferno kind of. Whenever I hear Disco, it's always a Disco Inferno. I believe it's a Disco Fire. I'm not sure if that's what the combination is called.
Disco.
I never cared enough to get involved in it.
Okay, so it's just the lowest expression gene of the fire complex is Disco.
That's okay.
All. Yeah, I have fire and vanilla on purpose, and then I actually stumbled upon sulfur in one of my Hypo males. He was sold to me as a super pastel inchy. Yeah,
I like sulfur a lot. I saw a sulfur clown at a reptile show one time, and he did not want to sell it. He had it listed for like $1,700 or something like that. So far, it's scary how good it is.
Yeah.
This is sulfur right here.
Sulfur?
Is it just sulfur? What else is it? Brandon?
This is sulfur, vanilla, and orange dream.
Okay. Yeah, sulfur is really nice. And when you get the super form, it just has so much orange on it compared to super fire. Yes. So I do think they're different. But
yeah. The reason that I am almost positive that they're different is if you look at a sulfur vanilla, it does not make a cream. It makes a different looking animal. It doesn't make an all white snake, but it's definitely not a cream.
I work with a different line of fire, actually.
Okay. Is it the Creed line or is it something different?
It's something different. Yeah. I'm not at liberty to say, apparently. The breeder doesn't want me to say what it is until I breed with it. but it's
Okay.
really special. It's really,
I
really
get you.
special.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I stumbled upon it. He was supposed to be a super pastel, possible lesser inchy hypo. I bred him the first year to a normal, kind of just to prove out what he was. He ended up not being super pastel. He proved out to be lesser, but he threw like 6 egg clutch. I got 4 lesser fires, a firefly, and a fire.
Nice.
So I was like, that's really weird because I had produced like all fire animals with him.
Mhm.
And so obviously he wasn't super pastel, which I honestly wasn't upset about. I would trade an extra gene of pastel for what I thought at the time was fire. So I bred him, but he was also throwing some other funky like pattern. Like some people were like, it really looks yellow belly, but it didn't have like this, like the yellow belly, but it had the real wonky pattern going on. So I bred him this year to a fire female and produced what I thought were super fires, but they had this stupid amount of orange on them.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up with that, and then I also bred him to a yellow belly and got some crazy looking hatchlings. I don't even know what they are yet. I've sent them off to, they not very old. They just hatched out about 2 months ago. I've sent them off to several people that are like, I don't know. I'm like, it shouldn't be this difficult. But the one thing that I have pretty much confirmed, I still need to breed to find out, is everyone's saying that it's sulfur and not fire. So I don't know. We don't know if there's another gene at play as well, or if it's just the sulfur throwing all these wonky patterns and things like that. But I like what it's doing. It's made a lot of really
awesome,
really nice animals. And next season I should have 4 or 5 females from that male that'll be breeder size. So it'll be interesting to kind of throw some stuff together and maybe throw him back at 1 or something and see what happens. But
yeah, what happens?
Yeah. I like I said, I wanted to get into it that when I saw that clown, but he wouldn't sell it. And then while I was at Arlington, I ended up picking up, like I said, a different line of fire. And you know, when the guy was showing me the comparisons, like he purposely keeps different types of fire in his collection to show the comparisons. And I was like, I already knew about it from like a year ago. Someone else showed me it, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I need to get into this one. So I totally know what you see about the sulfur. It's really nice. It's really different.
Yeah. And I'm a big fan of vanilla too.
Oh, yeah.
They do such different things. I mean, I always tell people when they first hatch out, it's actually pretty hard to tell. But once they hit that sweet like 3 to 500 gram range, it's just like the sneak completely changes to be something different. So it's nice. It's, you know, I feel like sulfur holds the color so much better. Like the snakes that I have now that are almost breeding size still look like they did when they crawled out the egg. Like it's ridiculous. They're still so bright and so clean. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's always nice.
Yeah, I prefer sulfur.
Yeah, it's always nice to find those genes. I mean, that's why DG is so popular too. Is that the adult look
Troy.
nice as the hatchlings. Yeah, Troy.
Sulfur exant. That sounds.
What line, Troy? I'm pretty sure VPI, but it might be TSK. It's pretty close to John JD.
So, Brandon, you work with VPI, right, Brandon?
Yeah.
But your stuff is really nice and different. Like you can tell that you definitely have been trying to hold back the good stuff, because I've seen a lot of brown snakes and yours are not like that. So
yes,
that's
so
amazing.
with the so this is just pastel exanthic. That's it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So
for that line,
I know you worked the MJ line.
Yeah.
Which is my favorite line, because even MJ hets look like single gene exanthics. But with exanthic, 2 things are really prominent when working it as a project. The first is to line breed for the high end of Xanthic, right? The other thing, though, is the quality of the other gene you're putting in your Xanthic. So with Xanthic, fire and pastel are clutch. But you want that badass fire and that badass pastel.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that is
That's
super nice. And I'm not a huge fan of Xanthic. I love the MJ line. If I'm ever gonna work with the Xanthic line, it'll be the MJ line. Nice. I do like it a lot. I do really like. I love lightning pieds. Like if I was gonna work with Xanthic, it would go into pied definitely.
I just separated from pieds because like you just said, most people want to go in that direction, right? So
I don't blame you.
I instantly want to do something so different. So
yes,
just a future project. I'm really excited to get the MJ into tri-stripe.
Yes.
Yeah. That's something I'm really looking forward to.
Now you're speaking my language. Damn.
See? Tri-stripe I love so much. I have some tri-stripe as well. You asked me earlier what I had. I didn't mention tri-stripe, but that's a direction I really want to go to with the MJ Xanthic, the tri-stripe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think puzzle is going to be ridiculous as well, honestly. So those would be the two. I'm sorry, Brandon. I take back what I said. It'd be Monarch and Xanthic that I think puzzle will really stand out and like change the game.
So that puzzle that I have is also Poshead Xanthic for VPI. So it'll be going to my breeder female.
Nice.
Just to prove it.
Really, really nice.
Yeah. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want to get into tri-stripe.
We're almost at 2 hours.
I know. We're almost done though. We're doing pretty good. We out of all of our tangents, we actually got through most of our questions for tonight. But yeah, I really want to work tri-stripe. I know they're completely.
Troy is just like shitting on all of our dreams. Do you see this, Brandon?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I also have this already.
Yeah. Yep. Troy is
like, what the fuck?
Troy is so humble and such an underground breeder. Like he has all this amazing stuff, and like no one knows about it. And then he comes on here and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got all."
I got a
vanilla hypoxanthic to a tri-stripe, and I'm breeding a monarch to an inchy pin pie that's het for clown, and I'm it's like, where's all this stuff coming from, Troy?
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. But I really want to get into tri-stripe. Yes, so underrated. He's just so he's almost like too humble that he just doesn't ever talk about his stuff, and then when he does, it's like, holy crap, where did all these animals come from? But I really want to work into tri-stripe, but we're already working 7 recesses over here, and I know they're completely different, but I'm really heavy. Well, not super heavy, but I got a lot going on with genetic stripe. Really? So I'm kind of like, do I take
nice.
Which direction do I end up going with that? And if it was just with genetic stripe, I probably wouldn't. I'd probably switch over to tri-stripe. But I've got like some genetic stripe lavender, double het stuff, and all that. So I'm like, it would just take a long time to replace those animals with tri-stripe. So definitely, eventually, once we get into a bigger facility and I can have more room for more animals to work with more different projects, it's definitely high up on my list. But right now, I gotta quit buying into all these recessives. Like I love them all too much. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How many snakes do you guys have right now? Because it's so strange you say that. Because I have maybe 7 or 8 recessives myself. I think I don't know off the top of my head, but I feel like I have plenty of room. I think maybe because I only keep like maybe 2 females of each one or 3 females of each one. Maybe my sample size is smaller, but I feel like
I think one of your big advantages, though, is a lot of your females are double visual, which makes a huge advantage, right? Because then you're working with they correlate with 2 projects, right? And not saying that Brandon and I have some visual hets and double visuals and that kind of stuff too, but it definitely helps. The biggest thing when it comes down to working recessives like that is just your odds. You know, the more females you have, the better chances at hitting the animal that you want. So I think we're about the same animal-wise, aren't we, Brandon?
I'm probably at about 120-ish. I think you're more than me. I'm maybe 130-ish. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm at about that. I'm probably pushing 200 with holdbacks right now. But I only, as far as breeder females go, I'm running between like 45, 50 breeder females this year.
Wow, that's a lot. I mean, for me, that's a lot. Like, wow.
Yeah.
See,
so, and
my thing is,
I'm planning on hitting 30 in like 3-4 years, maybe, and that's like max 30 females.
Yes.
You already have 50. That's scary for me.
The biggest thing is you have to think, if you have 30 females, breeders go off of only 50 to 55% of their females going every year, which I'm sure you probably already know. So if you have 30 females, then you're probably going to expect to get around 15 to 20 clutches a year. And obviously some years you might get 10, right? Because you might have an off year. My biggest year, I was pairing 47 girls. I had 25 clutches, so a little over 50%. Now I didn't have an ultrasound before then. Now that I have this will be my first year having an ultrasound through the whole season. I got my ultrasound kind of mid-season last year, and I have noticed a huge difference in the number of females that I'm expecting to go this year, just basing off, I can't talk tonight. Follicle development and
follicular development.
Follicular, thank you. Yes, development and how on track everything is. So I'm hoping to hit about 35 clutches this year with my 46 pairings.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so that I predict those numbers to be like my biggest year ever, 30 clutches, which would be like ridiculous for me. I don't have the space, and I don't want it to get that crazy. So like I cycle. I already started cycling out a lot. Like last season, at the end of the season, I sold all of my het females that weren't visual. So I got rid of all my females that weren't visual. I kept only one because I'm doing some testing with that. I'm experimenting with something else, but yeah. And then like this year, I already know what I need to cycle out, and then next year I know what I need to cycle out. So I'm always like trying to be a couple years ahead in terms of what needs to go, what needs to come in, because obviously you're working with multiple recessives, you're gonna have hets, right? So all of these female monarch hets I need to bring them into my new system. So obviously I already have plans to make the space for them, to adjust things and blah blah blah.
We're about maxed out in our space that we have now, so I understand how that goes. I've got like, all right, I've got these females coming up, which means these females need to get moving. One thing that I have learned in my 6 years of breeding is I do not sell a female. Like, okay, say I have a double het like monarch pied female, right? That's proven breeder. And then I have a female that's going to hit 3 the next season, and she's a monarch het pied, right? So obviously you would assume like the visual het would replace the double het. I will not sell that double het until the visual girl has laid.
Until the visual het produced. Yep.
As laid, because I have shot myself in the foot so many times with these girls that don't lay till they're 5, 6, 7 years old. They don't have their first clutch. It doesn't matter what I do. They eat fine, they lock, they build, and for whatever reason, they don't go. And I've shot myself in the foot several times for that. I'm not saying that just because she goes 1 year, she's going to go consistently every year. But it's worth it. It's worth holding on to that girl for one extra season just to make sure that the girl you want isn't going to be one of those that holds out on you. And not only that, I've had girls hit 1,200 grams and just stay there. It doesn't happen very often. And usually older, more experienced now, I guess you could say, I've learned just pair them at 1,200 grams because a lot of times it'll get them gaining weight, eating, and that kind of stuff again. But no, I've lost time on a lot of projects just for not knowing those little tips and tricks and thinking like, all right, I'm going to sell this double visual because I have a visual hen or I have a double visual female. And then she doesn't lay for the next 4 years. And I'm like, shit, I lost all that time because I was impatient.
Yeah, I fucked myself. Yeah.
That's a great method for sure.
Yeah.
So just to have some insurance.
Yes, if you can and you have the space.
That's the thing for me. I don't have the space. So my thing is like, if they don't breed, I'll try next year. It's not that big of a loss. It's just it's time for sure, but like whatever.
And I still do that. Yeah, and I still do that with some females depending on the project too, right? So like if it's kind of like I don't want to say a back burner project, but maybe not like a project pushing pairing, right? Like kind of hypo. Like there's a lot of hypo stuff out there. There's still a lot to be done with it. But, for the most part, like you can find, a lot of different hypo stuff or even clown for the most part, depending on what codoms you're throwing at it. But something that it's like, we never like to say race, right? But I'm either going to hit the DG Monarch or I'm not.
That's how I feel. Next year.
It's hold on to that female, that double head,
That's why I have 6 double head females. I've got to get it. I've got to get it.
Yeah, I've got to get one. Yeah. I was very fortunate with the Monarch project. The first year I had him, I threw to a pied, and I only got 3 eggs, so I was a little disappointed. But I got a trio. I got 1 male and 2 females, so I couldn't ask for anything better.
Nice.
And then I also had him going to a hypo black pewter. And I got, 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5 eggs out of the clutch, 4 males, 1 female.
Nice.
I was like, stab me in the heart. So now I've only got 1 female, right? Like I have 4 males. I have this one female chance to actually hit it. So
you'll get it.
I hope so. It's next year. And now I found out that those animals are also pos-het pied. Because the mom proved out to be pied.
Nice.
So I held on to everything from that clutch, which I was super excited about. Because I was like, why am I holding on to 4 double het? Like, they got other codoms in them. But I'm like, why am I holding on to 4 double het Monarch hypos? And then the next 2 years later, that mom proved out to be het pied. So I'm like, well, awesome. Now they're all, 50% het pied. So
yeah, that's cool. That's
worked out well. But
dude.
Yeah, so those, that's just my tip. If you got a project pushing pairing or animal or something that you're really trying to hit the odds on, if you can hold on to that 1 or 2 females, just to have that insurance, it's definitely very helpful.
For sure.
All right. We're almost at 2 hours. Brandon, do you have anything else?
Yeah, you got a mentor? Hector, you got a dude who like mentors you or anyone you look up to or anything like that as far as ball pythons go? Damn. Come on.
As far as ball pythons, no. I just kind of do my own thing and take my life experience and try to transition into this. I do appreciate a lot of people in the hobby. I will say that. Of course your Miguel's, your Billy's, Earl at Lone Star Reptiles. I really appreciate that guy. He's a super good dude. And I have a lot of friends who obviously I care a lot about, Las Vegas Pythons, Grab Your Balls, a few really close people I have in the hobby. Yeah, that's about it. Sorry to disappoint you guys.
No, not disappointing.
All right.
I don't have
a mentor. I never had nobody, dude.
Yeah, I'm the same way. So yeah, I got a lot of good people, a lot of good friends. I can say that.
I feel like I don't think I have like one specific mentor that like helps me through all kinds of. I just try to take my knowledge from all different people in the industry, and I think that's the best way to go. Learn from everyone else's experience.
Yeah. So me and Steve joke because I spoke about him in a few of my videos, and his brand is obviously Las Vegas ball pythons, but accidentally I said Las Vegas reptiles the first time, and I just stuck with it.
Oh no!
And that's just it. That's what he's labeled. That's what he's labeled at moving forward. So I want you guys to like do the same thing if you can. Okay.
Whatever, Troy.
Yeah, Las Vegas
Screw you.
reptiles.
Yeah, Las Vegas reptiles.
Love you,
Las
Troy.
Vegas reptiles.
Love you, Troy.
Guess I know who your favorite is
Damn,
now,
Steve.
Troy. Whatever.
Rebrand them. Troy, I really
Oh,
appreciate that.
man.
Thank you.
I'm butthurt. Troy only lives like 3 hours from me. We're supposed to be tight.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that he's like scary nice. Like he's too nice and sweet that you wonder, like, is he a serial killer in his real life? You know?
No.
So like kind.
I mean,
I
if
will
he,
admit that the first time I met Troy at a show, I was like, this is the fakest dude I've ever met. Like, he's so stupid.
Damn!
It's not even funny. But no, now that I actually know him, he's just genuinely like
He's a great person,
the
right?
sweetest person. Yeah, just awesome, man. But yeah, like we
Yeah.
walked away from his table and I was like,
Troy.
dude. Like, no.
That guy with the big bow, it's just yeah, the whole
bedazzled suit jacket.
If Troy ever wanted
Yeah.
to get down on some serial killing, dude, I'd be down to get down on some serial killing, Troy.
Troy,
if you
now
wanna
that you say
like
that, I
bang
have
people
seen
in
your
your
basement and I kind of believe it.
See,
Unfortunately.
we're around to something.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm down to party, Troy.
Come over to the dark side.
Secrets revealed. Well, we all know that, just kidding, I'm too lazy. Me too, Troy.
Oh,
I'm right
shit.
there with you. That's too much work.
It's very.
I
it's
would
very
get
stressful,
lazy.
man,
I would get lazy and then get caught. I'd be like, you know?
Do I have to wear?
Yeah.
Right?
Do I have to clean up all this blood? I'm just gonna leave it.
You just gotta Dexter that shit, dude. Span wrap the home, good to go.
Yeah, it's so much work. Like, no.
No, dude, you listen, you put a gun to someone else's head and make them do it. Kill them in the saran wrapped room. Kill your victim. And then all you gotta do is take it down and burn it. Good to go.
It's scary that it seems like you had this premeditated. I just want to say that.
No. That was off the fly.
Oh. I think that might be worse then.
That's even more scary, to be completely honest. No.
Come get the body.
Me too, Troy.
There is no way I'm digging a hole in my backyard. Come get this body.
Yeah, fuck that.
That's so funny.
Yeah, digging holes is tiring, dude.
Have you guys? Yeah. I used to work in the vet med industry, right? Like emergency vet med, like third shift, type stuff. And I'm pretty sure we have some serial killers running around the Quad Cities. On 3 different occasions, I've had 2 rabbits and a dog come in. Unfortunately, they had to be euthanized. This is a really dark story, guys. So I guess censor if you don't want to hear it.
Fuck
Go,
yeah,
jump out.
He's bring on the dark stuff.
So building up the anticipation. They people bring animals in, especially strays and stuff, right? And they usually bring them in a box or whatever. And they're like, I found this rabbit, or I found this dog, or whatever the case may be. And Brandon probably knows about this. They will cut the skin perfectly around the ankles to the feet. Yeah. And then they will literally skin the animal while it's still alive. And then they'll bring it in to have it euthanized, but it's more like they want to show their work to someone. Yeah. And I've had it happen. I've been there on 2 occasions. Usually it's rabbits is the biggest thing. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. You could just tell when it was something that was hand done as opposed to like we've had people bring rabbits in like their dogs get a hold of, you know, and they end up pulling and stuff. But yeah, so we've had that with 2 rabbits and a dog. The dog is definitely the worst one. But yeah, there's some weird people out there, guys.
You know, it's crazy. Actually, I saw this vegan movie. It's really popular. It's a documentary, and it almost made me go vegan. Like I've been considering it. I saw it like a month ago, and I've been considering it. They showed that I think it was in China. They do that to dogs and foxes.
Oh, the dogs.
And you see it in the video, but their whole body is skinned. Everything, and the animal's alive is there.
I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
Their raw body, terrifying. But if you could just imagine that pain, like horrible, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy, for sure. And like the first time something like that happens, you just are like, I mean, you're almost in shock. Yeah, you just don't know what to do. But yeah, it's crazy to think that there's people in the world who can do stuff like that and just not, I don't know. Something's not wired right.
It's people who just don't value animals as like an actual life. It's literally just like an item for them, I guess.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And there's so many things. Like I've subscribed to a lot of stuff on Facebook on like overseas news, kind of, you know, like different world news pretty much. But just some of the holidays and stuff that they celebrate in other countries are just ridiculous. Oh man, Brandon just completely disappeared.
Yeah, it says my browser lost connection.
Well, I can still hear you, so that's good.
That's weird. Yeah, it just said my browser lost connection to the camera.
Well, here we are. Like we were just like, we're about 2 hours in. Let's wrap it up, and then we're like, let's talk about people, you know, skinning animals and serial killers.
Way off topic of this channel.
Best place to end it, right? I swear, 10 o'clock hits and we just get stupid. It just turns dark.
I think it was successful. 11. Oh, it's 10 o'clock for you guys. It's 11 for me. That's why I was like, okay, never mind.
My bad. Yeah, I know. You asked me, you're like, 9 o'clock, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, well, duh, because he's an hour ahead of me. Yeah.
He's an hour ahead. Yeah. All right, so we're doing the revolution round then?
Yes, the revolution round. So these are fun, right? Like fire questions. You addressed this at the beginning of the video. Is it caramel or caramel?
It is caramel. Stop being ridiculous, Brandon.
Thank you. Caramel. That is 2 for 2.
Caramel. If you know, I wanted to prove it to you. Caramel. If you go on Google and you look up how it is pronounced, it says caramel.
If you learn anything about the English language, it's an ever-evolving language that never has proper pronunciation.
So why are we backtracking and saying caramel?
That's different than both of the things we just asked you. Caramel is the third choice. I don't know what the hell you're saying.
Caramel.
That's what it sounds like to me.
It's caramel, goddamn.
It's not
caramel.
It's caramel.
It's caramel. It's caramel.
How much can you bench? How much can you bench for 1 rep max?
Honestly, I have no idea. I don't bench, so I couldn't tell you. I have zero idea.
How much do you weigh?
I weigh 160.
All right, good.
Yeah.
All right, that's warm up weight for bench. That's good shit.
Okay.
All right.
Damn, he answered the next one already.
You're gonna ask me how much I weigh?
Yeah, we've answered the next 2. We were gonna ask if you knew the gender of your new little one yet.
Okay.
Which you said was a girl.
Yeah, I went off prematurely. I'm so sorry. I wasn't prepared.
Oh gosh, no, you're fine. Yeah, he's like, I'm changing it up. We're gonna answer the revolution round in the beginning. All right, this is how we're doing it. Because I mean, the first thing he's like, this caramel debate, like we're getting this out of the way right now. We're not.
Oh yeah.
We're not dealing with this.
Caramel as fuck.
Yeah. All right, and then we asked you earlier as well if you had an animal that you don't own that you would like to. How about this, reptile or non-reptile related? Like if you could own any animal in the world, what would you pick?
It'd be a wolf or a tiger.
I can dig that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I'm big on things that could eat me and kill me. So
Me too.
Same. Like that. So, how are you revolutionary?
ooh. I think I'd say personally, I think I'm revolutionary because I've had a pretty terrible life. I was actually an orphan. My parents are shitty. To say to simplify it. So I grew up really bouncing around from like group homes and foster homes and shit like that. Trying to take care of my younger siblings. I'm the oldest. There's a lot of us. The only thing my mom did do was have a lot of kids. So I come from a really bad neighborhood in New York, and just jumping around from different random terrible foster parents and stuff like that. I managed to figure my shit out at a young age and grow to what I am today on sheer willpower. A lot of my siblings have gone off the rails and lost track of themselves. And I'm 26 years old, and I'm fortunate enough to say I've been relatively successful in life based off just what I've come from and my age. I guess I own my own business, and I'm always trying to evolve and get better and push myself to the next level, and not really let all that terrible shit hold me back at all. If anything, use it more as something to help push me forward. So I think that's a trait that not a lot of people have. Most people who come from those situations end up falling victim to those situations, and I've managed to worm my way through it and come out on top. So I think that definitely separates me from I'd say the majority, in my opinion, anyways.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. That's amazing.
Damn.
I never would have.
You and I have a pretty similar childhood.
Yeah, I know. I heard you talk about it
similar.
before, and I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I literally grew up in the most ghetto hood places you can imagine. Fucking people getting shot in front of me, and almost got shot a few times just for walking. It's ridiculous stuff. You wouldn't imagine that that's my background, but
No.
I really try to diversify myself from that kind of shit, and like I said, just try to be different and do what I can. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Well, you're doing good, brother. You're fucking killing it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, and Troy, you asked me earlier what's the name of my bar. It's actually called The Jungle. So it's a pool hall, and when you come in, it's like jungle themed. So there's like grass and trees everywhere, and there's like animal paintings all over the place. It's pretty cool. You can look it up on Google if you want.
That's
on Instagram.
Legit.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to take that, go open it in like Texas, where you can own your real tiger and have it like stand there, and then people will be like, "Oh, that's really cool tiger," and then it's like, yeah, like all these other fake animals, and all of a sudden they're like, "Man, that one looks really real," and it like turns and looks at them,
No, I don't think I'd be able to get the insurance to cover that.
Right? No. Can't have live tigers in your bar.
yeah, Troy. So the official business name is Berry and White Billiards, but we also go by The Jungle, so you can find it on either or. You can look it up on Google or on Instagram. Yeah, Berry and White Billiards or The Jungle in Williamsburg. Yeah.
Definitely. Awesome story, and thank you for coming on. We had a great time. Hope you had fun too, even though Brandon and I like to go on our tangents. We're working on that.
I think we did pretty well. I've seen you guys
so much shit, it's unreal.
And I feel like this one wasn't that bad.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it was that bad.
I thought it was horrible.
Murdering people and how much, but that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our whole
that wasn't that bad.
All the different things that we say in Pittsburgh and how we say it.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. You got me there. Fuck.
Yeah. See, we say it different too, right? Like I don't know. Anyway. Well, we really appreciate it, Hector. Thank you so much for coming on with us. You've got an amazing collection growing over there and a lot of amazing stuff to be looking out for in the future.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah, dude.
All right.
All right. Thank you guys all. I appreciate it. Thank you for all the kind words, everyone. That means a lot. Steve, I still hate you. You're an asshole. This whole chat has just been killing me. Just killing me. He's a monster.
That's
so sweet
that's
this
Las
whole
Vegas
time.
Reptiles, right?
Yeah,
been so
Vegas
nice.
Reptiles.
Been so
Las
sweet
Vegas
this whole
Reptiles?
time. And I was just like, Steve, just fuck you.
Yeah. You don't have to deal with him. I deal with him on a daily basis, and he's all sweet on Instagram. But once you get him in the DMs, he's just like a monster. So yeah,
just don't let him in those DMs, guys.
It gets
fucking
spicy.
Steve's, man. Fucking Steve's. Oh shit.
All right.
That's dope, though. But yeah, thanks for coming on, brother. I really appreciate you giving us your time. You know, give the wife my best. I'll pray for a healthy delivery for your new daughter on the way, man. And you hold it down over there, all right?
Thank you so much, and I appreciate the invite. Look forward to seeing you guys again.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Yep. Later, bro.
All right. I think we did pretty good. That one went pretty well.
Yeah, that was pretty smooth, man. That's good shit. Who do we have next week? Are we announcing next week's guest?
Yeah, go ahead. I think I know who it is.
It's MJ, right?
I think so. Yeah. Yes.
I think so. No, it is fucking MJ.
It is MJ. Dude, I've got so many, like, I've lined so many people up. Don't ask me which one is which. But yeah, no, it's MJ. It's MJ next week.
Guys, we have MJ, Michael Juarez. He does
MJ's Cartel Snake Trap Talk Session.
Snake Trap and the Unfiltered Reptile podcast as well with Desiree and Stephen Cush. Also really, really awesome. Go check that out if you get the chance. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. I just got to put this one up there. Damn. Damn, Troy.
Troy's like, I'm done. Just throwing it all up. Troy, just send it to me. You don't need to. I'll take care of it for you. I'll take care of all that yellow belly stuff for you.
That was user error. That was the keyboard's fault.
Oh no!
The keyboard,
I've already
put the wrong Pac-Man up there.
We already got tagged in a post story about it on Reptile Revolution. I've already shared it. It's got your name. It's got it on there.
I'm deleting my Instagram and I'm starting over.
It's like, I'm rebranding right now.
Yep.
No more Noodles.
Noodles, Oodles. I'll just flip it around, man.
Noodles on oh goodness. All right.
We're gonna have we'll have MJ on and we're gonna talk chondros. We're not talking ball pythons. I'm sure we might roll into it a little bit, but
I just want to know about all the stuff he's got, and I want to talk to him about how he got started with the whole podcast on his end and all that fun stuff. So it'll be interesting. Yeah. It'll be interesting for him, I'm sure too, because for once he's gonna be on the interviewee side, right, instead of doing the interviewing. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Watch him completely take over and start asking us questions, and then
we're here for this shit.
Yeah, no.
Take a day off work, bro. Fuck.
Yes, for sure. So anyway, thank you so much, everyone, for stopping in. We had a great time as always, and we'll see you next week. Bye. Yep.